My name is Skuzii, that's S-K-U-Z with 2 motherfucking eyes. If you want to see this interview, make sure you go to heymisschrissy.com. Make sure it's a .com with a D and not with a T, like I just messed up and said.
You play instruments, you know, you're in a band and everything. You have a lot of experience with music, not only hip hop, like other genres too. So how did you first discover your passion for music as a whole?
I would say probably when I was about, it's kind of being here and there. I think it's like a God-given thing. Just in the sense that I didn't get into instruments till I was about 10 because my grandfather, rest in peace, I got a saxophone like from a pawn shop, and that was when I was getting into middle school, which is where you can get into the different programs and stuff. And I just kind of started from there, and it was just really easy to me. I've always been competitive with everything. It was like sports, that, school, and it just came so naturally that I just had to keep going. But I've always been sensitive to music. I'm a sensitive person. I know, like, something I was joking about my mom the other day was that when I was younger, for some reason, every time Killing Me Softly by Lauryn Hill came on, I'd cry like a whole pussy, like for a while. And I always joked about it with myself. And I thought about it, I was like, man, it's kind of interesting if you think about it. I was 4 years old. It was like, you had that much of an emotional connection to the song that was what came out of it. So it's kind of always been there.
Well, like I said, you're in a band, which is something a lot of people might find unique because not many rappers can say they play in a band also.
Right.
So how did your band come together, and what inspired the name The Finesse Band? Like, how did you guys come up with that?
As far as band, I've always like kind of had a band play with me, just because when I was first going to HU and I was rapping, it was a lot more competitive, I would say, at that time in rap and just on campus and that culture in general, because this was about the time period when it was like just about to be trap / like heavy lyricism. So we were coming out of like the Crank That's and stuff like that, and this is when J. Cole first got discovered, when Drake came out, Big Sean, a couple other people who were like really heavy lyrical hitters. At the same time, Waka Flocka got like super big too. Wale also came out at the same time. So for me, I kind of like just connected to that. But what I noticed with performing at Hampton is you get like a real dead response if you weren't intriguing in some way. And when I was in high school, for some reason, I kind of separated me being a musician and me being a rapper, and I just thought the two weren't cool. So pretty much after a while, I just kind of figured out like that was just what I needed to do, was just learn how to be different. And once I figured out how to interpret the sound that I wanted, that's when I started using bands. Now, as far as the band I play with now, the Finesse Band, which includes my name Brian, who's also an artist. He plays keys. Then Lawrence, Larry the bassist, he plays bass for a couple bands. And then Jack Union, who's a good producer, he's my drummer. Literally just what the title says. We've always had a finesse. Like, we always like kind of like the underdogs in certain situation, or, you know, before we got any type of clout, people just weren't expecting us to be or do certain things, or, you know, we couldn't get gigs, we couldn't get shows, so we've always had to finesse something. Like, whether it be to create a show, if people couldn't give us a show, if we didn't have certain instruments and things like that. Like, we've had shows where sometimes we didn't have drums. It would just be like, we just make it sound like it's like some crazy acapella shit. So yeah, it's just art imitating life. We literally had to finesse things, so just like the Finesse Band.
You also host the Finesse Day event, so how did you get into hosting events, and like what was the purpose behind the events that you were hosting?
Again, I would say it just came from a necessity of needing a place to perform. Like, my joy when it comes to music mostly is the performance aspect. So I've never really been the host type per se. I mean, I definitely put it together, but I like kind of like the Great Gatsby aspect, where he's like, you put on these crazy stuff, but it's like you don't really see him. But I know it really started when I used to live on Frizzle Street, which is down the street from like Upper Room Studio, and it was like 6 of us to stay in the house, and that was when me and Laronte, who's my current like business partner, got real tight, and we just couldn't. We was doing open mics all the time, but we just couldn't. You know, there was no way for us to get shows because we were such a specific thing, and people like try to like really characterize something like, it's like, oh, they're in a band, and some of us, they never even heard my music, and they'd be like, oh, well, they're jazzy and they do this. I'm like, bro, I talk about eating ass and stuff, like, and then fucking like fuck the police. Like, this is like not like jazzy shit. Like, this is like it's rap. So we just literally started doing shows out the crib, and we was calling those what was it? Finesse Band Fridays. That's what it was. And we would just like have people come, and we would sell like food inside or stuff like that. I know one time we did like a networking event where we just got different creators together and just created like mindedness. And we did that for a while. Then once we found out what Graffiti Studio was, just came up with the name Finesse Band Friday, and it's really just expanding the aspect of creativity. So it's like everybody has shows. You know, it's not hard to do a show now. We even host a show, and anybody can put one together. But it's the same concept. Whereas people do like, all right, well, let's get like 5 to 12 artists, and we'll have one DJ, and we'll turn the lights off at some point, and everybody jumps around and sweats, and then you know that's it. No, there's nothing wrong with that, but everybody does it. So I was like, and then on the other side, you have like all these really good musicians and bands, but they don't market themselves the same way that these artists do. So you have all these cool events and stuff, but you know, pretty much well, excuse me. You have people that like pretty much that side is not out there as much as this side is, but this side is not as creative as that side. So we just had to meet in the middle. So I wanted to make sure I always had vendors that were all different. Like every time we did different vendors, we didn't use the same stuff. Different types of artists, different types of clothing, different types of food, edibles, whatever. And then I wanted to make sure the performers were all different too. So it wasn't just a bunch of people in bands. It wasn't just a bunch of straight rappers. You had a little bit of everything. I mean, having some comedy included too. So and you know, there'll probably be more things in the future too. But it's really just to kind of feed that void of creativity and trendsetting.
Got you. That's a that was a good concept too. Also with the not having everything the same. I think that's pretty something that you don't see often. You know.
Thank you.
So you just dropped a video recently. What is the inspiration behind the Veronica's Apartment video? Like, is that a real story, or is that, what is that?
Yeah, and it's kind of, I'm glad you asked because no one knows the concept behind the video yet. Well, but essentially the song came from my best friend Keith taking an L when we were in 2013. Like the song is based off the project. The project's also called Veronica's Apartment, which is pretty much the time period that I had in life when I wasn't in school and I wasn't really doing much, but I was having a lot of fun. So it was like a very emotional, rocky road in the sense that it was like I really needed to be on my shit, but I wasn't. And that's not cool, but it built my character up as far as like to be in like this shitty situation and to make the best out of it. So you know, we were turning up a lot. I was doing a lot of unsavory things as far as business I was into. And now the actual song is based off of a night when me and Keith went to my friend Veronica's apartment and she was having a party, and I used to you know, do business with her friends. And so her friends, they invited us over, and me and Keith both didn't have like maybe $4 to the both of us. So we was like, we still gonna bring something to the party. So we got like this cheap ass bottle of gin that just had gin on it. It's a sign with me. We brought cheap ass gin. Fuck it, we broke. Put that shit away, nigga. And we brought it in. They saw it and it was like, my nigga, you don't just put that away. We have actual liquor. And like they had like Douce and tequila and shit, like stuff like I mean it was like 1800, but at the time we were so used to like shitty liquor. We was like, oh, this is crazy. So we ended up having a good time. I remember Keith threw up in the toilet and I had to rescue him, and then he came back to life. And this girl tried to give him a lap dance, and he didn't know how to accept it because he's weird. Love him to death. But essentially, the L came from me and this girl that was there was trying to put him on. Like I told the girl straight because everybody left except me, Keith, and these two girls, and I'm like, look, I'm not trying to fuck you, but it is his birthday, and I think we should both be terrible friends and get your friend to fuck him. And she was like, all right, bet. I'm like, you're an awful friend. Let's get it. So and Keith is just a gentleman, so he wasn't doing that. Not on purpose, he just didn't know what he was doing. Like, the girl was giving him a lap dance and shit, and he was just like, like just being really weird. And I'm like, what are you doing? So, yeah, that happened, and then I was like creeping very hard on Veronica's roommate, who drank too much liquor and passed out. But she was twerking on me heavy. And it's funny because it wasn't a twerk party. And not only that, Veronica was lying to me because I kept telling her I was trying to get her roommate. She said, my roommate don't want you. That is not what the alcohol said. So, but anywho, if we would have did a video based off of that concept, it would have been basic as hell. Because what I try to do with the videos now is I'm like, all right, what's the most obvious thing? We got a song about going to a party, my friend getting drunk, and not hooking up with some girl. If we did that literally, it would just be a party video with a bunch of people with red cups. And it's fucking lame, you know. No disrespect to anybody who's still doing that, but step your game up, my nigga. Like, it's the same shit. So I was just like, let's think way left field, way out the box. And I was like, a lot of my shit I do is based off like mythology and Greek shit when it comes to like concept wise. So I was like, what if we have it like Veronica's actually Dionysus, which Dionysus is the Greek god of like the turn up and fucking and stuff like that, wine specifically. So there are little things that hint towards her being Dionysus in there, but you really wouldn't know unless I told you. Like the fact that she's leading me, that she has like a masculine appearance to her. It's clearly a woman, but you know she has on like a male suit and shit like that. The crown too. Dionysus had a crown like that. And so pretty much what she's doing is I'm invited to like this like private party. You see me walk in, and it's a house full of vices and muses. I had a previous project called The Music, so kind of played on that aspect. The actual women that were involved are not necessarily just muses, because the muses are kind of just boring as far as like some of the actually what they stood for. So we combine it with the 9 circles of hell too. They're both nine muses, 9 circles of hell, and it's kind of like when in Dante's Inferno, when Dante is being led around hell by Virgil, but he's just showing him the different levels of hell, and like because they're all based off of like gluttony or greed and shit like that. A lot of people know all the deadly sins and shit like that come from that literature. So it was a combination of all those concepts, and we just wanted to pretty much show a modern representation of that. And that's essentially what it kind of boiled down to. And there's still like a couple of small details that I'm not gonna really release yet because it ties in with things later and before actually. I'll say if you ever seen an All That I Know video, you'll notice that there's a duality between that one and this one as far as like positive and negative.
Recently you performed on the Virginia Got Now Elevate Tour. How did that opportunity come about, and how was your experience with the tour?
I mean, I've been watching them. So I'm as soon as they said something, I think they released a date or some shit. They did some type of show. I just hit them up and like, look, y'all niggas need to put me on something. I'm a good performer, like straight up. But you know, of course, paying it forward, I'm like, y'all niggas is dope. But they hit me back and was like, yeah, we're already considering you for blah blah blah. Maybe. And it wasn't like solid. It was like, we're gonna hit you up, let you know if we fucking with you or not. All right, bet. And then they hit me up and said they was fucking with me. So we went from there. But I definitely fuck with what they're doing as far as being very active, and they kind of have a similar aspect that I do, I think myself, as far as like they seem like they really just going forward to just get like just do it, like if that makes sense. Like there's not any safety net. It's just like we just gotta fucking do it. Like I'm pretty sure some of them might not have even not been out here before, but like have done something like that, and they just fucking did it. So a lot of people were pussyfoot around some shit like that. So you know, I can appreciate it.
Do you find yourself more so a fan of old school hip hop, or can you get with some of the music of today also?
I listen to everything, man. I think that's part of being a musician. I think, and it's funny, we was talking about this last night in the studio. I think one of the aesthetics that you get from being a musician that I don't think no one teaches you as a rapper, because there's nobody to teach you, is that you have to be diverse, but it's still being yourself. Like for example, as a saxophone player, if I'm just like a for hire saxophone player, but all I play is jazz, I ain't worth shit. I might get hella jazz gigs, but it's like, you might be in a place where you can't get jazz gigs. Or if I only play classical like XYZ, I have to be able to play everything so I can learn all the aspects of my instrument, my craft. And as rappers, we're still musicians at the end of the day. You still, you know, make music. Like, you have to be a fucking musician. You know what I mean? But I feel like there's different aspects when it comes to that. Like it seems like it's different codes and shit. So like I love old school shit. I love new shit. I mean, but again, like you're not gonna see me like. Actually, I'm about to lie, but you see, you're not gonna see me turn up to Run DMC. Run DMC low key's lit, cause I didn't really listen to them like that, and I heard like the Peter Pepper Pick Peppers, whatever, right? Peter Piper Pick Peppers, all that shit. And I had to listen to that shit like 15 times in a row, man. Them niggas was going off. But I like the new shit too, man. It's here and there. It's funny because it be shit I don't want to like, and I end up fucking with it. Like what's the nigga's name? He looks white, but he's not white. Lil Perk or some shit like that. What's his name?
Lil Pump.
Pump. I would call him a Lil Perk. Yeah, Lil Pump. I do not like him as a human being. I can't say that. I don't know him as a human being. I don't like how he represents himself. Fuck with his music, and I try not to. I really tried not to like his shit. I remember I put it on, I was like, D-Rose. This shit is whack. I played that song 12 times back to back. I fuck with it. I do fuck with his shit. But I don't like how he represents himself.
Well, I mean, a lot of the rappers today don't kind of know how to represent themselves, but that's something that kind of comes with age, don't you think?
Definitely.
Like experience. So everybody has their, they'll learn.
Yeah.
But so my next question is, what words of advice do you have for artists who are trying to establish themselves in the Virginia music scene, or just in the music scene period? What advice do you have to offer?
I would say just do it and don't be a pussy. Don't be a pussy in all aspects. Like, I'm sorry, this is very left field. Yeah, why do we say don't be a pussy? Like, you ever think about, like, it's almost kind of backwards. Like, I actually, like, I'm getting way left field. I'm just thinking like birth and shit. Like, pussy is such a flexible thing that, like,
it always bounces back.
Always bounces back. That shit is crazy. Keith, y'all can't see it, but Keith has on a very nice shirt right now. But anywho, don't be a pussy in the sense that if you want to do some shit, just go fucking do it. Network, learn your craft. But I think networking is the biggest thing. Like, go out and talk to people. Don't be afraid to slide in DMs. DM might save your life. Slide in DMs on Twitter. Slide in them on Instagram. Get Twitter. Get everything. My biggest thing that I try to tell people is, do not limit yourself to one thing. Don't be on Instagram. Don't just be on SoundCloud. Be on BMI. Make sure you know everything that there is to know about your craft. Study the legal shit behind it. How to be in the music business. I think it's a book. It's like an encyclopedia type book I've been reading by Donald Pearsons, I want to say. I might be fucking his last name up. But learn. Take the time that you take to go out and party and shit. Take some time off and, like, study, research. Research the shit like it's something that you want to do. And if you start getting annoyed, you don't really fuck with it, you might find out it's not what you really want to do. But at the end of the day, you just gotta go out there, be fucking different, be yourself, and just do it, man. Try to go on these shows, talk to these people, link up, see what you like, know what you're not about, draw the line where, if there's certain things that you don't do or that you don't want to do, figure that out before you get into it. And wear condoms.
Those are very wise words. And my last question, it seems to be a trademark, but can you explain the significance behind the octopus?
I can explain around it.
You can explain around it.
Yeah.
Go
So
ahead.
if you're not familiar with the octopus, we have a very eternal saying as don't ask about the octopus. And I stand by that. But I will say that the octopus is what I am. It represents our brand, what finesse is. It's just when you see that, you see me. Just know that. That is part of who I am and what we are. We. But yeah, it's just who we are. When you see it, you know that's me. Essentially. Peace and blessings, beautiful people, ugly people, tall niggas and midgets. If you want to follow me, you can find me anywhere as long as you look up SKUZ with 2 eyes. If there's any confusion about the 2 eyes, think about your face unless you have a Fetty Wap type of situation, or if you're like a sick dog who somehow got into a fighting incident with one of Mike Vick's pit bulls, because that happens. Instagram is just that, SKUZII. Twitter is SKUZII_. SoundCloud, SKUZII. If you're Apple, Tidal, Deezer, Google Play, Renisha, Keisha, Lauren, Tim, anything, just look up Skuzii. You will find me. YouTube, same thing. Facebook, facebook.com/don't ask about the octopus. And if you want to see this exciting ass interview where I curse arbitrarily and talk about really cool shit, you can find it at heymisschrissy.com.